Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 591 of the Dum Yinzers. I want to say welcome back, everybody.
Well,
How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good. Feeling good, feeling a little bit better about the Steelers today than I
All
did
right.
yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm in a good mood.
Derby, how you feeling about the Steelers today?
I'd rather talk about the Pirates.
Well, you're both lucky because we'll talk a little bit about both today. I do want to start off the show. Well, I don't know. Before we get into things full swing, there was something. Oh, yeah. Did you guys see this? So apparently in 2028, they're going to put flag football
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Olympics, which I dig because I'm a big wuss and I much sooner swarm to or magnetized to flag football. I just, I think it's cool because I'm an older person. I'm not 20 and in great shape. So this is it kind of appeals to me in a weird way. And, but the big debate is this: the pros want to play.
Yeah.
And apparently there's really, really good flag football players, and they would go and represent the country and play the sport that they play. But the pros, they want to play in this flag football Olympics. What are you guys thinking of that?
Uh, I don't have a problem with the pros playing in it, but it's a completely different sport. It's football, but it's a different kind of football. You know, it's different. I think the pros would win it, but at the same time, if we have a team that's already going, that's doing well, if they're I don't know if they're the best team, but if they are the best team, why break it up? You know?
Yeah, I'd imagine that we would be. You would think that we would be somewhere similar what the Team USA, did in basketball for years,
Yeah.
just because nobody else plays American football. You think
Yeah.
that we would have that advantage? I mean, you would think, right?
Well, you saw that other football tournament that happened. Like we lost to Japan, we lost to Germany. So
Did we really?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, it was bad. They were bad losses too. So we don't want to be like
can you
England.
imagine losing to the
You know,
Japanese in professional in American football?
yeah, and the Germans. We lost to the. It was like the reverse of the 1940s. It was depressing. So, but I don't want to be like England and lose in soccer all the time. They invented the sport. I don't want to be the American team that loses at flag football because we didn't send our pros.
Yeah, I mean that's like Canada not winning the gold in hockey, and
Yeah.
I just think that it's funny because again, like as you said, it's a totally different sport. Flag
Mm-hmm.
football, flag football is a totally different sport than full contact football. So I just this kind of caught my attention. Again, I think it's pretty cool that we're going to have flag football in the 2028
Yeah.
Olympics. I don't know where I sit. I think at first you got to send the pros. Kind of set that precedent. Say,
Yeah.
look, we're
Like,
America. This is this you get.
yeah.
This is what you're going to get if you mess around. But
Like,
then maybe kind of scale it back. Maybe the next time around 32
yeah.
or whatever.
Hey, who's going to cover Tyreek Hill or DK Metcalf just running deep routes with Mahomes throwing darts all day long? Come on now. You don't have to worry about cutting, juking, and getting all shifty like the flag football guys are. If you can't cover the guys, it ain't gonna matter.
Plus, it gives us a good opportunity to look for some potential white guys too for our team.
Team White.
For team Mendenhall. Good morning, Ron on the board. Ron says first thing I hear is Derpy talking about the terrible Pirates, and that's why people love him, Ron. That's why people love our Derpy. Good morning to you, sir. Always great to hear from you.
Derpy can ruin anything.
Yeah, Derpy's good for a good
Yeah, he's a good mood killer.
good mood kill. Also, Mike, the other thing that I did see Derpy on November 15th, it's going to happen. It's going to go down. I seen the weigh in, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight,
Let's
November
go.
15. They were getting weighed in, and Tyson kind of he started
Shotgun.
kind of punching at him a little bit. I
Yeah,
mean, it wasn't his full punch, of course, but it was a little aggressive. And you know what? Tyson showed his crazy a little bit. So I
he
think
did.
that quite potentially he could I hope that he wins this thing. I don't want him to lose to Jake
Me too.
Paul. But like I said, I think you needed to see a little bit of that crazy come out in Mike Tyson. And you know what, I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident. But again, guys, November 15 is that big fight. I can't wait.
Uh, Tyson looked crazy. And as people are saying on the internet, I'm not saying it. I am just repeating what they're saying, that they noticed a lot of acne around his Paul's face, and that could be a sign of taking some
Steroids.
it. Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
not saying it. Other people are saying it.
Like these guys got to be in tip top. Yeah, come on, the guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I
Oh,
wouldn't put.
I
I
would.
wouldn't put it
Oh,
by. I wouldn't put it by them guys for a second.
oh yeah. I just want to see Tyson rock his world, and so this guy can just go back to fighting celebrities again, not being taken seriously.
Well, I think that's kind of where he's still at. But nonetheless, November 15, guys. It seems like everything. It seems like this year's going fast, but every time you there's something that you want to see, it's like it's still 2 months away.
Yeah, yeah. I just realized we're like we're over halfway through this month, through August, and it blew my mind. I'm like, no, September's not around the corner. That's a lie.
But then it feels like the election should be soon, but that's still like 2.5 months
Yeah, that's
away. You know
still
what I mean?
away. Yeah, and then like you said, like New Year's feels like it should be right around the corner, but it's so far away. Christmas feels like it should be around the corner, but it's still so far away.
Yeah.
It's just,
Hey,
but you know what's right
that could
around the
stay too far
corner
away. What's up?
is fucking Steelers football, baby.
That's right, guys. I want to get started on this Brandon Ayuk talk early today because you know what? After Sunday's game, I kind of got so down, not down, but I was down a little bit. I thought we'll get into that in just a moment. But you know what? The Brandon Ayuk saga kind of fell by the wayside. So we're going to go over a couple things today that I did learn about the Brandon Ayuk situation here. We're not out of the question. I mean, it's still very much in the air here.
Yeah.
I thought, as I said, after we performed the way that we did over the past weekend, that Brandon Ayuk would probably run back crying and screaming to San Francisco, and John Lynch just begging and begging for a spot back. But nonetheless, here we go. Brandon Ayuk restarted contract talks with the 49ers after the Steelers' contract offer came up under $28 million per year. So they laid it out there. They told us what it is. They told us the amount that they're willing to give. Brandon Ayuk, he wants a little bit more than that. This is what Grant Cohen, who covers the 49ers for Sports Illustrated, predicts. He says, I think that Ayuk will hold out for an offer the 49ers ultimately won't make. Then he'll sit out the first few weeks of the season. And finally, the 49ers will trade him to the Steelers for picks, which they'll send to a third team for a veteran wide receiver who currently isn't on the trade market. So that's what a guy in San Francisco believes. And also, Mike, this information from Adam Schefter says, we don't know where Brandon Ayuk will be playing in 2024, but we know that we know when the answer will come. I would expect this issue to heat up this week at some point. So is this going to stay in? I mean, like I said, it kind of fell a little bit by the wayside after last week's game, and for multiple reasons. And maybe we're just out of our fucking minds, But Mike, the saga continues.
Yes. More layers added on to it too. Like each week something new is coming out. Uh, it's wild that they think they can wait until halfway through the season to make this trade. Because at that point, what if Pittsburgh's, we're not even close to being in contention, close to being a good team, and then Ayuk changes his mind and that they don't want to come up with the money,
right?
And then San Fran, did this to themselves. They took forever to, seriously negotiate with him. So I hope it blows up in their face. I hope it gets to the point where Omar Khan is only given a third round pick for him. I hope it gets to that point and to where they don't get a good veteran receiver back, because they waited forever to try and negotiate a contract with this guy. And I can't wait for it to be over. But my God, if we have to wait until week 8 to get a trade, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
And as you said, I mean, without that player, week 8, we might be in big trouble.
Yeah. And if we're not, let's say we survive, have a decent schedule, sitting at like 5-3 or even 4-4, wouldn't be terrible, be about what they are. But at that point, okay, we're gonna get in Ayuk at that point, who hasn't played since the Super Bowl,
Right.
hasn't practiced since the Super Bowl. How sharp is he going to be? How game ready is he going to be? How useful is he going to be down the stretch at that point? No, that's why the deal needs to be done as soon as possible.
Mike, do you think they get things figured out with Brandon Ayuk within the
I,
next 10 days?
you know what? What last year it took them till what the beginning of the year until they the 49ers got that deal done with Bosa, and he played with under a week of practice. So I can see them taking up until week 1
So long story
to
short,
figure
don't
something out.
don't waste your time with San Francisco. They waste time.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Um, Mike Stephen A. Smith, the genius that he is. Stephen A. Smith says that the Steelers, they got last place written all over them after seeing last preseason's game. Again, you can't get too excited about a preseason game.
Yeah,
I mean,
can't
people
get
do.
too down.
This is the math that people were doing, Mike.
Yeah,
This is the math, and this is what I collect. This is what I gathered by reading on social media, is that they did really well in the preseason last year,
yeah,
and then they stunk. Oh, they didn't stink. They finished 10-7. The
yeah,
season. So if they stink in the preseason, then maybe they'll do well. I mean, this is the math that people are going on. And basically, in other words, don't go by what the preseason shows
yeah,
you, because last year you went from being pretty damn good in preseason. I mean, they stuffed the ball down Buffalo's throat in game 2 in preseason. So what we're going to do here in a little bit, Mike, we're going to go through some of the games in the schedule, the first
yeah,
9 games, actually, because we know how the last 8 games look. We're
yeah.
going to go through the
Murderers row.
first 9,
Oof.
and we're going to look at realistically how this team could land and where they could be sitting
Yeah,
at week 9, because that's going to tell a lot. You don't want to go into those last 8 weeks of the season being 2-7, because you're doomed at that point. So we're going to take a little look at the top part of the schedule here in a little bit, Mike. But this Brandon Ayuk thing, I mean, it really, realistically, at any point during the day, you could see on your phone that, hey, they made the deal. It's been done. He's coming to Pittsburgh, and I've been as I said, since the game Sunday, just kind of coming down off that Brandon Ayuk high a little bit. And I don't know if it's because maybe I'm under that impression that we're just not that good. I don't know.
yeah,
You can't go by that. So, Mike, at any point during the day, we just got to have to keep our eyes open.
yeah. Just keep refreshing Twitter all day, every day. So when you get your weekly reports, it says you average 10 hours a day on your phone.
Yeah.
I think this Brandon Ayuk saga is making my phone think I am addicted to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Days of our Steelers.
What's that, Derpy?
Days of our Steelers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is,
Yeah.
man. Let me address a couple things here. Ron says problem with Brandon Ayuk and others, that holdout is very suspect. Yeah, I mean, injuries. The guy's not playing. The guy's not. I don't know what he's doing besides what he would be doing with the team, but if he's not staying in tip-top shape, that also makes him a liability. Also, Brian says Stephen A. Smith's ratings in the same with ESPN, has last place written all over them. But there you go. That is your up to date Brandon Ayuk scoop. In case you're wondering, team gets back out there this Saturday at 1:00. They go up to Ford Field to play the Detroit Lions in Game 3 of the preseason. Then they will have a week off, and then they get ready to play the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Then travel to Denver to play the Broncos in the Mile High City before they come back home to play their first home game of the year. So, guys, we basically have three road games ahead of us. Got a little bit of time to get things together. I want to talk about this offensive line a little bit again today, Mike. We got some things going on here.
Yep.
Is it possible on this offensive line? Is it possible that the offensive line coach could be a problem? What's his name? Pat Meyer.
Yeah.
I mean, now let me
Yeah.
give you my case.
Yeah.
Dotson Dotson pretty much stunk when he went here. He went out to LA. He looked like an all pro. That Kendrick Green, he did nothing here. He goes to Houston and looks like a normal, offensive lineman. James Daniels and Dan Moore, I mean, you could say they pretty much, that they've been pretty flat the whole time here. They were here. They didn't really improve much. And obviously, the Broderick Jones issue is looking worse and worse every day. Is there anything that could be done by the offensive line coach, Mike, that could, have this offensive line playing any different? I mean, like I said, two of these guys leave and they look just fine. Matter of fact, they even used the word all pro last year, I think, when they were talking about one of these guys. I don't remember if it was Dodson or Green, but I thought that's crazy.
Dodson. Well, Dodson, he had like when he started playing like his rookie year, he was filling in. He played well, and then he went downhill after that, and then he went to somewhere else and played better. So he was
Because
a
the
mixed
offensive
bag
line,
here.
Mike, it certainly hasn't over the past
But the
3
thing is,
years. It's
like,
improved, but
it's
I mean,
improved.
by default. I mean, you're playing football 17 games.
Yeah.
You got to improve at some point.
But Dan Moore has gotten better every year that he's played. Is he the greatest left tackle? No, he doesn't have that ability to be that lockdown guy, but he's turned into a serviceable left tackle where teams are talking about him in free agency as a guy to target to add to their line. James Daniels was one of the best pass blocking guards in the NFL. And we're seeing Zach Frazier start as a rookie. Spencer Anderson looks from one season to the next, looks night and day better. Mason McCormick's playing well too. So there are, for those where like Broderick Jones
So
is
we're
looking
counting
lost,
on a bunch of rookies basically to make
no,
the
what I'm
difference.
saying is, we're seeing some guys that are playing better from one year to the next. Broderick Jones was played really well last year, but is taking a step back this year. So it's easy to just say, "Oh, it's the coach." But when you look at it,
this is the first.
there's some successes,
hold on.
there's some.
This
failures.
is literally the first time I've ever heard anybody blame this coach.
Oh, he's been,
hold on. Let me prove my point. Most people don't know what a Pat Meyer is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I walk up to 10 people on the street right now, I bet you 10 of them don't know who Pat Meyer is. What I'm saying is maybe, just maybe, this should be something that we should look at because of the offensive line woes. And again, the line, have they improved? They did. They improved. But again, are they anywhere close to what you want your playoff caliber offensive line to look like? No. And of course not. And one might say we got a lot of young people. And that's true. Zach Frazier, he's going to get better. McCormick, all these guys, they're going to get better. But at this point, I got to tell you, that was, certainly one of the Achilles heels in this game was the fact that they couldn't keep him off of Russell Wilson's back. And you know what? I got to tell you, if it wasn't for Justin Fields' legs, it would have been the same thing in the second half for him. Mike, what's ultimately what's his line look like once the season gets going? I mean, is there going to be problems? Is there going to be issues? Do we go backwards because we did go with youth this year opposed to a little bit more of experienced guys? What's the offensive line look like this year? Because that's a big part of this team.
Because right now it's looking like Zach Frazier is going to have a rookie season, kind of like Marquise Pouncey had, where you couldn't tell he was a rookie. He's not going to be at the peak of his powers his rookie year, but I think he's going to step in and be a center where you don't have to worry about him. He's going to look like he's been a 2-3 year pro at that point. And for me, it's not going to hinge on Broderick Jones, because if he can play, come in and start
me.
Yeah, because what we saw last year during the regular season to what we're seeing now between these two preseason games, this is it's a different Broderick Jones. I don't know what happened. Yeah, you can say, oh, well, he's having to learn both left and right side, but we saw last year he played well on the right side, so him going back into their last game should not have been a problem, and it was. And Dan Moore's looking better this year than Broderick Jones is, and that's scary because the whole concept is Broderick on left, Fatano on right, and Dan Moore's your backup. I think that line will be really, really good.
And here's the thing: it isn't like we're not attempting.
Now it's right now they're looking like they're going to be an average line. When they finished last year, they were an above average offensive line, one of the best run blocking units in the league.
We'll see if that carries over.
We'll see.
Of course, I mean, we are making efforts. We are making moves. It isn't like we didn't go out and use our first couple picks in the draft to get our guys. It isn't like we're sitting on our hands. They are making an attempt. It just seems a little bit more kick the can down the roadish to me. Because again, it's where we're at. I don't think that they did that on purpose. It just feels like, maybe the gelling and the experience of the line
Yeah.
and these guys playing together might take more than what we would
Yeah.
like to see, especially coming up, very close on the season, Mike.
And
Um,
when you're real quick, and when you're expecting like someone like Broderick Jones to take that big step,
yeah.
and it's be it injuries or whatnot, he's taking a slight step back. That's going to hold that unit back, and you just hope Fatanu's ready enough to step in and fill in that spot until Broderick figures out whatever's going on with Broderick.
Ron also says, I've listened to Grant Cohen and other entitled San Francisco fan podcasts. They're in denial and keep bashing the Steelers when they should be bashing the upper management for screwing this whole thing up for the San Francisco 49ers. Um, there's a lot to be, this season's going to be interesting. I was kind of expecting it to go a little bit easier than what it did last year and what it did the year before, just in the overall play, just in the overall, when you sit down at the end of the season and look at how the year went, I think it's going to be very similar to the past 2 years, guys. I think there's going to be a lot of questions. I think there's going to be inconsistencies. And at the end of the day, too, by bringing in a lot of talent as they did, they brought in two quarterbacks. They brought in all-pro linebacker. They brought in, those kind of things don't necessarily gel overnight. So it just makes you wonder what kind of team this Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to field. Mike, I'm going to give you an idea because here is what the odds are for your Pittsburgh Steelers to win the AFC North. Baltimore plus 145. They're finished to pick first. Finish first. The Bengals at a plus 165 are picked to finish second in the AFC North. The Browns at a plus 450. And the Steelers coming in last with a plus 750. Mike, and the thing that gets me, the Cleveland Browns never have their shit together.
No.
And for them to continuously be put in front of us in these conversations as they were last year, as they were the year before going into the season, and then we just have to go out there and improve again that we could run our division. But Mike, there you go. The betters, the gamblers,
Yeah.
got us in fourth place. What do you think?
No, we're not going to finish in the basement this year, and that's becoming a very popular theme right now. Is the Steelers to finally finish in last place in the division, finally have a losing record in the past 17 years. I don't see it happening. Yeah, we're not.
Wouldn't this be the kind of year that would happen though?
This would be the year. This would be the year.
When you're looking back at the season,
where we make all these moves to try and get better, and it doesn't work out.
At the end of the season, you look back and you say, "Well, you know what? We did kind of rush this. We did kind of bring all these quarterbacks in. We were over our heads trying to figure out which guy we wanted to play. Could you see that possibly
that could happen? That can be a huge component of this being a down year finally. But if that would happen, I would be okay with it because they were trying something new, trying something outside the box for what this organization normally does. They weren't afraid to go out there, and they weren't big splashes. Patrick Queen was a big splash just because he was a division rival. Damn good player, but they didn't go out and spend stupid money on guys. Okay, let's get a quarterback who we don't have to pay $1 million to because another team is stupidly paying $35 million to. Let's go trade a 6th round pick for this guy who may or may not have something. We're
Mike,
not
are we getting
giving
what
up
we
the
paid
farm.
for?
Yeah, we are.
When you do that, you can only expect, you can only hope.
You can only expect so much. Yeah. And that's what happens. Like, unfortunately, Kenny didn't work out. That's what happens when you gamble on 1st round picks at quarterback. Same thing happened with the Bears. Didn't work out with Fields. You see what's happening to that franchise and kind of happening to Pittsburgh. You kind of have to scramble and hope what you're doing will work and get you through it.
That being said, Mike, he did make a comment about Kenny. Here we are, life after Ben. Everybody, who would have thought it would have been so fun? I remember the last time. I remember, living between, and I thought Neil O'Donnell was good because at that point in my life, that was the best that I'd
he was
seen.
The best quarterback we saw.
Obviously, very, very, very young when the Steelers were doing it in the 70s. But Mike, so last year we Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett. This year, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. Is the story writing itself?
It is. It is. this is life after Ben. This is the Kent Graham, Mike Tomczak, Jim Miller, Cordell Stewart era we are in right now.
Mm.
Tommy Maddox,
And
Mark
we thought
Malone,
he was
Bubby
good
Brister.
because we still hadn't won a Super Bowl. We
Yeah.
made it to Super Bowl 30 at that point. We hadn't won it.
Yeah.
And we were thinking that, Tommy Maddox. So look how delusional you get.
Oh, yeah. You
once
can
you
talk
get to
yourself
that
into
point.
any of these quarterbacks.
So you can imagine what Cleveland, the psychosis that must be going on in that city.
Oh, yeah. Well, I kind of did that too this offseason, talking myself into how can it work with Russ? How can it work with Fields? But I'm willing to live in that delusional fantasy land for this season.
Yeah.
I just want to see what happens when the Steelers go outside the box for them. Will it work for them, or will they retreat back into what they normally do?
Mike, here is your speaking in numbers. I gave you some numbers for gambling. They're picking the Steelers to finish fourth in the division. Mike, also, TJ Watt is plus 350 odds to lead the league in sacks this year. Do you see? It's been 3 years. 1 year he had 22, whatever it was. Next year he had 19, and next year 17. Is there going to be a point where TJ droops a little bit in his numbers, or do you think he's going to continue on and still do what he does and does consistently, and possibly either leads the league in sacks by the end of the season or somewhere in the running? Or, like I said, he hasn't had that season yet where he hasn't produced unless there was an injury involved.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. He turns 30 this year.
Yeah,
it's 30.
Yeah, he turns 30 in under 2 months.
He hasn't won a playoff game. Jeez.
You got to show up and play him, baby. Got to show up and play him. But it's going to happen at some point. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I look maybe 2 years down the line, we start to see a rapid fall off of his production. Because once he loses that first step that he has on that edge, it's going to be downhill for him.
And what's everybody been complaining about? His non-ability to stop the run. So let's just say they do invest some time into getting him to be a better run stopper. Is that going to affect his pass rushing? Is that going to affect that initial move that he makes to get to the backfield? Or do you think he's just going to go ahead and continue to be TJ Watt, and it's going to still yield the same results that it has the past couple of years? You've seen the way that he defended the San Francisco 49ers in game 1 last year. You've seen, as time went on, how I really feel that his production. What do you think, Mike?
You know how Penguins fans take this to hockey. We always complain about Letang inching into the play at the wrong point or doing something stupid. We're hoping at age 35 he will figure it out. That's where we are with TJ Watt. He is what both guys are what they are at this point. You're gonna have to live and die with their flaws. And I think with Watt, it's gonna be him running himself out of the play on the run plays, not setting that edge every single time, him just always guessing it's going to be a pass.
Yeah.
Which sucks because that year he set the sack record. He was dominant on both.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember plays he'd break in the backfield just as he does for passing, and it would be a run the other direction, and he'd take that long-ass arm that he has.
Yeah.
Go clear across the line, and he'd grab the dude,
It just feels like those plays have become less and less since that year.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you can do it. And I wonder if that's too, like the decline of Cam, him knowing too, like, hey, I don't have to sell out equally for the run in the past. I got Cam here, who at that point was still better getting into the backfield. Now that's diminished. So,
Mike,
see how it plays.
Also, some other one other thing I do want to say: if you're going to put any money on anything this year, they're already putting Micah Parsons at the top of the outside rusher list, which, if you recall, last year they did this with Myles Garrett at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
That's all you heard.
All them pressers.
How great he is. They write it, they talk about it, and then all of a sudden, not performing better than the rest of the guys in his position. He does, in fact, win the award. Mike.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
Is this Micah Parsons year? Here we are.
Yeah.
Just like Myles, we're going to hear. At the end of the year, even if he didn't perform better than Max Crosby, at the end of the year, even if he doesn't perform better than TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, it just feels like they're already pushing the trying to get this gentleman to win the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, it's like they don't want it to keep going to the same guys anymore. after
which I
after
don't like this
Watt
because if you
dominated,
are
after
Darnold.
Aaron Donald, thank you, dominated. They don't want to see that award hogged anymore. Is what it feels like, and it sucks because that's the part of sports, man. Is
yeah,
someone's dominant for so long, you can't deny them.
it's like changing
Everyone, they were
things because
just
Tom Brady was winning championships. Well, we don't
yeah,
like the fact that he's winning.
yeah.
So yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's what helps build
Compliment.
legacies of players is they were so dominant that there were other dominant players there and they couldn't beat them out for this award. That's what makes them special, you know?
Yeah.
And it sucks because all three deserve the award, but when they're getting the award, they don't deserve it. Like
Right.
last year, Max Crosby should have had it.
Yeah.
The year Watt had a down year where he was hurt. That's probably the year Myles Garrett should have won it, and they gave him to the following. It yeah.
Mike, let's move on to PFF.
No,
We're
the
gonna
grades suck this time. So
talking
no.
about things that suck. We're gonna talk about the PFF. Mike, the PFF graded Pittsburgh Steelers top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players.
Ooh.
Always a surprise in there, maybe a couple. Let's take a look at what they gave us. At the 6th spot, I'm going to move up Darius Rush, 75.9, and DeMarvin Leal, also 75.9.
Yeah,
So I guess
those
it's
guys,
5 spots.
Those guys
And these two are tied in
did
5.
well.
Okay, so we agree with that so far.
Yeah.
Next on the PFF grades for the game against the Buffalo Bills, Nick Herbig, 76.8 in the number 4 spot.
Yeah,
I like this.
That dude is a force of nature.
Number 3, at 77.1 by the PFF, is Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller, Mike.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Scotty Miller. I you know what? I'm kind of high on Scotty Miller. You know this. I was talking good about him last week. I don't think that he could be looked over even if he doesn't make this team. That he's a tough player. He has a Super Bowl ring. I wouldn't overlook him. So number two on this list of the PFF grades, which you hate it, but it's almost like you have to talk about it because it's like a train wreck. These PFF grades. Number 2 on the list, Des Fitzpatrick with a 78.2. 78.2, Mike. Number 2 on the PFF grades for the Steelers in the game against Buffalo. Des Fitzpatrick.
It's interesting. Surprising.
If that okay. We haven't reached the surprise yet.
Oh no.
Number 1. I'm not even sure who this is. I'm going to be honest with you. You may, and if you do, please feel free. The highest rated Pittsburgh Steeler by the PFF in this past week's game was LaQuay Washington.
What?
With an 87.9. For one, do you see how stupid PFF is? 2, what's a LaQuay Washington?
Okay, he is a rookie out of Central Connecticut State.
Okay. I don't even recall him. I
don't remember
times.
seeing him pop up anywhere on any.
So this is a genius system. The PFF. They say of all the players that played in that game for the Steelers, LaQuay Washington graded Mike. Not only did he grade the highest, he graded 87.9, where Des Fitzpatrick was number 2, was 78.2.
I don't remember him playing. There. He had to one or two tackles that
I don't know. If you would have asked me this question before I looked that up, I would have had no idea.
Wow.
LaQuay Washington graded the highest by PFF. There you go. Derby, what do you think of this?
I agree with everything except the first one.
You're right. Yeah.
I'm going down the Steeler roster on ESPN and has everyone's, position, height, weight, age, where they went to school. By his age, it's 2 dashes. So this guy, no one knows how old he is. He can be like Danny Almonte.
Yeah.
Or he can be like, little Make-A-Wish kid who made the team. LaQuay Washington, I want to hear why they gave him this grade, what on film made them.
There is no rhyme or reason to what the PFF does, Mike. And if last year Myles Garrett winning the Defensive Player of the Year and then winning the PFF and everything else, if that didn't speak volumes on what this PFF is,
yeah.
But there you go, guys. LaQuay Washington, get out and buy his jersey, right?
You got all the
the fear of missing out. You don't want to miss out on the LaQuay Washington.
You know what? Everyone wants to talk about how Patrick Queen was a key signing.
Yeah.
Peyton Wilson was a
What
key
position is
draft pick.
LaQuay Washington, Mike?
Linebacker.
He's a linebacker. Huh?
He's a linebacker.
He's the one linebacker that I didn't notice. I can tell you that.
Right?
I seen Queen.
No.
I seen Wilson. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I seen Ed,
Yeah.
all of these guys, but I did
Yeah.
not
Like
did not.
not trying to dog the guy, but my God, I
No.
don't remember a damn thing about him.
Landon Roberts. That's what I was trying to say. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I know
very
him,
very
but
bizarre, Mike.
yeah, this guy, he might be my new favorite Steeler.
Right. Steelers signed 49ers and Pittsburgh Maulers ex-linebacker Kaiua Tazina. If you remember this name, Mike, he was the guy that was getting a lot of sacks on the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Maulers team last year. He might have led the team in sacks, but I do remember Tazina. We did talk quite a bit about him at the last time that the Pittsburgh Maulers were playing. Mike, we did sign him. Again, he's probably going to be gone by the end of the camp. But you never know. LaQuay Washington could be taking on a lot of people's positions if he keeps this up. So
yeah, LaQuay's going to be number one, and this guy's going to be backing up Herbig.
Yeah, he Tazino will be number 5 in the linebackers, and
Yeah,
LaQuay Washington will be number 1 in our heart. Here we go. Also, Mike, finally, JJ Watt. JJ Watt was posting more pictures yesterday from the Steelers facility. People are getting excited. They they want to see JJ Watt out on the field with TJ Watt. I don't think you're going to see it, but he's keeping it interesting, Mike. He's posting pictures. He's in town, working at the facilities, doing things. I'm not sure what he's doing, but I'm pretty sure that JJ Watt's done.
Oh yeah, he's done. He's done. He's just visiting his brother and the team, and then you gotta mess with people online,
right?
Troll with them, so you put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done. He ain't coming back. He got that cushy gig working for one of the pregame shows.
All right, Mike Derpy, this is the time of the show that we're going to talk about the first part of the schedule. The most popular part of the schedule is the last 8 games. Everybody knows these games. You got the Philadelphia Eagles. You have 6 division games, and you have the Kansas City Chiefs. That is your last 8 games of the season. It doesn't get more. It really is. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. We're going to go over these first 9 games. I don't know. I don't know. Here we go. Let's talk about it, guys. The first week of the season, we got two games to kick off on the road. The Atlanta Falcons and Denver Broncos. Of course, everybody knows that the Atlanta Falcons have really been, adding pieces. I don't know if you're going to see it on the field. We don't know yet. That's yet to be determined. But Mike, week 1, the Atlanta Falcons, and then week 2 going to Denver, which could be very interesting, especially if Russell Wilson goes to Denver and lays a big egg in front of that crowd in the Mile High. That could make things interesting, Mike, with confidence. With what do you think, Mike? First 2 games.
I think we come out with a split 1-1 where we lose game 1 at Atlanta and we bounce back with a nice win at Denver. I think Atlanta, they've had a very nice offseason. I like what they did, especially late adding Simmons, grabbing Udo from the Patriots. Even though his numbers went down last year, he's still an effective pass rusher.
They're not really doing much different than what the Steelers are doing, are they?
Yeah. I think they might get better quarterback play. It all depends on how well Kirk Cousins' Achilles works. But yeah, I think Atlanta's going to pull off an upset, and then we go out to Denver and eke out a victory there.
I think we win in Atlanta, we lose in Denver. I'm sorry, and the reason I think is because a lot of people are kind of giving Atlanta a little bit of a little hope here. So I think it's gonna seem like it's gonna be a tough game. I think we beat Atlanta a little easier than we should. I say we go out to Denver in a game that we probably should win, and we lose this game. And as I said, it may have something to do Russell Wilson. This might be I don't know. I just get a vibe from this Denver game. Derpy, first 2 games of the season, Atlanta and Denver. Anything different from you, or should we move on?
I agree with your take, Ryan.
All right, here we go. First home game of the year, guys. The first 4 games, they play 3 on the road. The very first home game of the year is against the the Los Angeles Chargers. They have brand new head coach coming down from Michigan, of course, national champion coach Jim Harbaugh. You get your quarterback healthy back. Herbert, he's healthy. Mike, they did make some other moves. San Diego. Los Angeles. That's going to take me years.
Yep.
But Mike, the Chargers. What do you think about this game?
I think it's going to be a victory for the Steelers. Not really impressed with a lot of what they did out there in San Diego. Uh, Gutted that wide receiver core when they had no one else in line. Quentin Johnson's looking like a bust already. I don't like what they did. Even on defense, I don't like where they're at. Outside, got Darwin James, Asante Samuels, Joey Bosa, and an aging Khalil Mack. I don't like what they did on defense, so I think that's a victory for us.
All right, so the other part of the first four games, Mike, the fourth game is the third away game. We go over to Indianapolis. It's always tough for teams to go into the RCA Dome and bring home a win. But these kind of games here, I think they're going to tell a lot about the season. I do. I mean, if you come out of this first four games losing 2-3 games, that's going to say a lot about the year because again, if you don't get the opportunity to stack up some wins early, you run into a juggernaut later on down the road as you come into these 8 teams to round out the season. Mike, Indianapolis. Let's jump to that game. Let's go to the next home game, Sunday night football game. Dallas Cowboys. It's always a big game. Steelers Cowboys always gains attention. Mike, what about the Steelers and the Cowboys game?
I think if CD Lamb is still holding out, we win this game.
I mean, that's 5 games into the year. We got some time. They should have things figured out with their players by then.
You would think.
Or he may be even in San Francisco at that point. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, but if CD Lamb is still out, we win this one. Now, if he plays, I think it's going to be a tough game.
I would agree.
Regular season Dak is an MVP. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. This one's a toss-up for me because I can see us winning this game.
It's at home.
Put me down for a win. I right now I think we can win this game.
Derpy, do we win against Dallas?
I have to agree with Mike's take. If CD Lamb sits out, we'll win it. But if he doesn't, then it'll be rough.
All right. We're going to go to the only away game in October. Trip out to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, guys. The Raiders are a team that you probably should beat.
Trap game.
But it's a trap game. You're right. And again, this is another one of them games that kind of give you an idea of how the rest of your season is going to go. Mike, Garner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Nathan Peterman. Does this quarterback room of Las Vegas beat the Steelers in October?
No. We went out there last year. We handled business. Quarterback was different, but we can beat Gardner Minshew. We were able to shut down Devontae Adams. I think we can do it, but that front four of that defense scares me. Max Crosby almost won that game for them last year, but I think we have enough to beat them. We did it last year.
All right, so these next 2 games, we come home from Vegas, and we got back-to-back games against these New York teams. The first one will be a Sunday night football game against the Jets. The following week will be against the Giants. Both of those games at home. You don't know what you're going to get from this Jets team. You got the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. The Jets have good players. It makes you wonder last year if Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have, went out after 5 plays, had that team had more success. Mike, 2-1, 1-1, 0-2. What do we do against the New York teams? At home. Week 7 and 8.
Damn,
that
going
Giants
out.
Team is bad. That Giants team is real bad.
That Giants team is bad. We're gonna win that Giants game.
And if we win against anybody in that NFC East, I think it would be the Giants.
Yeah, I'm putting a win for against the Giants. This Jets team, it's going to be a tough one. Even without Hassan Reddick, they got a good. It's not a trap game, Derpy. People know that the Jets are going to be good, and on paper they're better than us.
That's all right, Derpy. That's Derpy's opinion. That's his trap game.
I know. It's a home game, night game. We sweep New York, baby. We sweep
New York. Derpy, what do we do in New York? We got them back-to-back. The Jets first, the Giants the next week, Sunday Night Football. Do we win both? Do we split it, or do we lose both? What do you think?
We split it.
Split it, lose
Giants win, lost Jets.
All right. Week 9 is the bye. So we get one more kind of practice game, I guess you could call them, which again, this could be a difficult first part of the season.
Yeah.
You would hope that it wouldn't be, but again, breaking down the last couple preseason games, which could be nothing. They may come out and play very
Yeah.
well. I mean, but let's take a look at week 9, Mike. It's the bye. And then we have one more game after that before the big boys schedule starts.
They're gone.
The Washington Commanders, they just named their starting quarterback yesterday, Mike. What's his name? The rookie?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. So he did get the nod. He's starting down there. And they're another team that kind of picks and puts pieces in place. And
yeah.
I gave the Giants, I said they'd be the team from the NFC East that we should win. I think the Commanders fall in that category too, Mike.
Yeah, we should win this game. And only reason I don't like this game is how late it is into the season. Jaden Daniels will have like 8-9 games under his belt at that point. So he'll have some experience. He won't have those rookie jitters anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should beat that team.
Trap game.
Derpy, this is a trap season.
Every game is a trap game to Derpy. I think Derpy's listening to trap music right now.
Yes. So here we go. We have 9 games. I'm going to just go down through these teams' names briefly. You're going to give me what you think, Mike. It doesn't have to even connect with what you said about each individual game. I just want to know what you believe that the record will be of the Steelers after 10 weeks going into the last brutal stretch. Here is what the beginning of the season looks like: at Atlanta, at Denver, the Chargers, at the Colts, Cowboys, at the Raiders, Jets, Giants, bye, at Commanders. Mike, give me a prediction. What do you think it's going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games. What's your record after 9?
I'm gonna go 5-4.
I'm gonna go 6-3. Derpy, what do you got for the first 9 games of the season? Mike says 5-4. I say 6-3.
I'm gonna go 6-3.
6-3 as well. I mean, it could be a lot worse. It could be. You don't know. We don't know what we're getting. It appears that the team that we're seeing in the playoffs looks very similar to what we was dealing with. We did change out the offense. We did change out a lot of players. So let's hope that things do work out in our favor. Derpy and I both said 6-3 after the first 9. Mike says 5-4. So those are both pretty decent records going into that last 8 games. It's going to be tough though, because you're going to have to win your division games. You're going to have to beat the Eagles. Then you're also going to meet Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas in Pittsburgh. It is not going to be easy, guys. If I got to tell you, if I would be a little bit more confident in what I'd seen in the first couple games of preseason, maybe, just maybe, I might have a little bit different of a outlook on this. But they're kind of scaring me a little bit. Mike, they're kind of scaring me a little bit. And it's the offense. The defense looks good. Special teams looks good. It's just why does that offense still look like it has looked over the past couple years? Why? There's no reason.
I don't know. It should not look. It's frustrating too, because you see some good plays, and then there's a handful of like just bad plays after bad play, and then they'll run the play the first time, it doesn't work. A couple series later, they run the exact same play again, and they fire out consistently on it, and it works well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was listening to Trey Essex today, former Steelers lineman. He was like encouraged by how when the game went on, the play calling, the sequence of play calling, he was like able to tell what plays we're using to set up something down the line. There's a little bit of encouragement there from that, but you want to see it in action. You want to see everything firing in all cylinders. But this is what the preseason is for. Work out all those kinks. Because like you said, man, last year, this offense, we thought it was going to be, oh my God, we finally caught up to the NFL, and it turned out we did not. So,
and it turned into 17 games of checkdowns. I mean, it was. I've never seen anything like it. I got to be honest.
Sweating out every freaking victory.
I've never seen anything like this, Mike, to where a team couldn't get the ball past, the line of scrimmage when it came to the passing game. I've never seen anything, and let's just hope that things got better. Mike, Let me address a couple of these questions, and we have to move on. First of all, Brian says the Steelers would be better off signing JJ's younger brother, Derpy
Derpy
Watt.
Watt.
I agree. Also, Ron says Cousins will dissect us big time when we lose and when we win in Denver. I'm sorry, we'll lose in Atlanta and win in Denver. Very possible. Also, Ron says bye bye to Mike Tomlin. I think even if this team goes 1-16, I don't think that Mike Tomlin gets fired after this year. I think it takes quite a few very, very bad seasons. I think Mike Tomlin leaves when Mike Tomlin wants to leave. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, that just seems to be the only way that you could go with what the results have been so far. I mean, he's been good enough. You bring somebody else in, you're not guaranteed they're even going to be good enough. They could be guys that have 3-win seasons, which we haven't had in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
You could bring in a guy who has, a 5-win season. Haven't had that since the 90s. So again, he does just enough. And you just don't know what you're going to bring in. You'd expect to be able to go out and get the best possible coaching, but how we pay out, and somebody stated earlier on the board that we have the least amount of coaches in the league. So, that kind of stuff doesn't always add to the success. I think Tomlin's safe for a few more years anyway. I honestly believe at the end of the day he's going to walk off on his own. But it has to go terribly bad or something. Something has to happen in order for them to fire him. That's just my opinion. Mike, we do have to move on. Derpy, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they were in action last night back at it in Texas against the Rangers on a 3-game series in Texas. And then they come back home. Really weird. They were at home. They went to Texas. Arlington, now they're coming back home, excuse me, after this series. They lose 4-3. The Pirates actually out hit the Rangers 7-5. Pirates, they walk away from this game with a 58-66 record. Rangers not much better, 58-68. Ortiz pitches for the Pirates. He has a decent game, throws 7 strikeouts, but it came down to 3 swings of the bat, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This gentleman for the Rangers, if anybody could, it's Corey Seager. Corey Seager hits 2 home runs. So all 4 of Texas's runs were off of Corey Seager's bat in a long ball. Jared Triolo hits a home run for the Pirates. It was a 3-run jack. He goes 1 for 3 with 3 ribbies, a walk in, a run. That was all. 2 swings of the bat by Seager, 1 swing of the bat by Triolo. That produces a 4-3 score, and that was your final score. Mike, also Joey Bart. This guy, you can't keep this guy from hitting the ball right now. He goes 2 for 4 with a run. And then Billy McKinney, a call-up yesterday. Billy McKinney, Mike, the call-up goes 2 for 4 with a run. 2 for 4 from your call-up. I've never seen this guy yet.
No.
Also, Reynolds. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, he's bounced around a lot.
Also, Brian Reynolds and G1 Bay, they are also players that had 1 hit. Next game is tonight at 8:05. That's game 2 of 3 against these Texas Rangers. We'll be starting Mitch Keller, Mike, who is 10-7, coming into the game with a 3.95 ERA and 125 strikeouts on the season. And Cody Bradford for the Rangers will be pitching, who has a 4-0 record, a 3.50 ERA, and 33 strikeouts on the season. A couple moves. Again, this Billy McKinney was called up. He goes 2 for 4. Brian Hayes goes on a 10-day IL. Palacios, who went down briefly, is back up. And I still haven't heard any more scoop on Jared Jones or Nikki G. Mike, I think if you want any improvement in your team, it'd be nice to get those guys back in the lineup and on the rotation.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me if this is their way of quietly shutting Jared Jones down for the year.
I couldn't agree more. I was thinking that myself. I'll be very surprised if that's not the case. So again, Mike, tonight, game 2, going at it with the Texas Rangers, who are the World Series champions at the moment, the reigning World Series champions. The division looks like this. Milwaukee sits atop. Get this, St. Louis, 11 games out in second place. The Cubs and Reds, 11.5. And in the basement, your Pittsburgh Pirates, everybody, 14 games out, 8 games out of the wild card. Boy, did that decline and fall apart quick. You know what? A 10-game losing streak will do it.
Oh, yeah. And when you don't have any long winning streaks at all during this season to balance out that this team can't afford, the that long losing streak. That's what we said, man. That's what kept them in it for the longest time was they limited their losses.
Absolutely.
They
You know
went
what?
for like what a month where they didn't lose over a month where they didn't lose 3 games in a
Yeah,
row.
I was since May.
Yeah, since May, it was multiple months. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, and the bottom just fell out, man. And that 10-game losing streak ruined them.
You know the Seattle Mariners, who we just beat 2 games out of 3. If we would have swept them, that would have been like the first time they've been swept like all years. I mean, whatever it
Holy
is, it was
shit!
a crazy statistic. I don't
Yeah,
remember if that was exactly it, but the Pirates, that's the kind of team they are. They're going to win games that they shouldn't win. They're going to lose games that they should win. It's the Pirates. If you're not used to that, I don't know what to tell you. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
the 2dumyinzers.com. Just everyone check it out, please. Over there, like I said, all of Ryan and I's social media links. Got the merchandise store. Get your 2dumyinzers merch. Get your That's Why They Play 162 t-shirt. Derpy's favorite saying at baseball season. And check out the blog. I have one up over there touching on what the O line, specifically Broderick Jones, the quarterback battle, and the D line, how that is a nice big surprise. So check it out. The2dumyinzers.com.
Do go check that out, everybody. www.the2dumyinzers.com. www.the2dumyinzers.com. Trivia question of the day, guys. It is that time. We play the Detroit Lions this weekend, so it's going to be a Detroit Lions trivia question. Put on your thinking caps, Mike, Derpy, people on the board, everybody at home. Here we go. This is a Detroit Lions trivia. You ready, Derpy?
Here we go.
All right. How many touchdowns did the Lions' great Barry Sanders score in his career?
Oh,
I mean, this is a tough one. Of course, you would have to
that
know.
is a tough one.
It is. Let me read it to you one more time. How many touchdowns did Lions' great Barry Sanders score in his career? Go ahead and think that over. We're live. We're live 5 days a week right here, right on YouTube from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us every day. We talk about all the local Pittsburgh sports and such right here on YouTube, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day. Check us out. All right, guys. So this is the question of the day, Detroit Lions question. We play the Lions this week. You know how we do. The question is, how many touchdowns did Lions great Barry Sanders score in his career? Derpy, I'm going to start with you. Do you have any kind of guess? Maybe you know. Maybe you were a Barry Sanders savant, for all I know. Do you have any guesses on how many touchdowns Barry Sanders had in his career?
346.
346. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to lock Derpy in on a 346. Mike, I'm going to come over to you. How many touchdowns did Lions great Barry Sanders score in his career? Derpy says 346 touchdowns.
220.
220. Is this your final answer?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Guys, the question is, it's a Detroit Lions question. How many touchdowns did the Lions' great Barry Sanders score in his career? Derpy says 346. Mike says 220. I think both of you guys have been playing too much Madden on easy mode, but
175-ish, maybe.
no, 109.
Wow.
Really? We were way off.
109. You 90. You guys, 99 of them were on the ground. 10 of them were by air. So Barry
Way
Sanders
off.
in his career had 109 touchdowns, 99 by way of the ground, and 10 through passing. So interesting. If you don't know, you're just guessing. It's a tough one. It's
Yeah.
Ron said 52. The answer, guys, was 109. 109.
I thought he would have more.
I mean, he did have more when I was playing Madden back in the 90s because I was killing with Barry Sanders, if I'm remembering right. But that is the answer, guys. Barry Sanders did score 109 touchdowns, not 100. He didn't have 100 on the ground, which is crazy. You would have thought that would at least hit the century mark. Ron says 346. Really? Yeah.
I'm gonna
Uh,
lay off.
a little bit. I do got an announcement, Derpy. So the picks that we do every week for the NFL. We have one
Yes.
more week of preseason. We have 18 full weeks of NFL regular season, and then we have the playoffs. A lot of season left. So I'm throwing it out there. There's about 23 weeks of picks to go. So this is what I'm going to do to add a little incentive, a little motivation, a little, put a little fire under your ass for the picks, guys. There will be awards at the end of the year for the best picker. It's going to have to do with Permani's sandwich gift cards. So Derpy, keep that in mind. As you know, the preseason picks don't count. It's fun. It's getting you ready. So once the season starts is when it counts. And what I think we're going to do is something like this. Say Derpy wins by 4 games. He wins 14, whatever it may be. After 17 weeks, he wins by 4. It will be times 10. Whatever you win by will be the award that you win on your Permani's gift card. If Derpy wins by, he wins 15 weeks and Mike wins 2 weeks, then he would win $130. Or you see what I'm saying? Or if it's, so whatever the amount that you win by at the end of the season will be multiplied by 10. That will be your gift, guys. So Mike, Derpy, something to play for, something to look forward to. And as I said, who knows? You could win a $50 Permani's Brothers card, Derpy. That's a good dinner, man.
That's a good deal.
All right, so that works for you?
Yep.
All right, good. So we will do the picks on Thursday for this coming week. Again, it's preseason. It's just practice. Get ready for the regular season. I don't remember who won last year, but it was close. Again, if you win by 1 game, that's a $10 certificate. If you win by 4 games, that's a $40 certificate. So by the end of the year, that's what we're going by, the end results. So Derpy, Mike, it is on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Mike, anything before we start getting ready to wrap it up?
Nah, I got nothing, man. I'm just now. I know I'm gonna win this tournament.
All right.
That's the only thing I know.
You can already smell the Permanis, huh?
I can smell it. I can taste it.
All right, I do have a couple of things here before we do shut down for the day. I have 2 things. $219 billion, or I'm sorry, 219 billion Social Security numbers hacked.
Oh.
219 billion. There's 330 million Americans. That's a lot of numbers a lot of Social Security numbers to be hacked, especially considering since there's only 330 million Americans. 2.9 billion Social Security numbers were in fact hacked. I think if you're going to look at this, Mike, with a little optimism, maybe, just maybe, the hackers will go on and erase all of our debt, and we'll all be happy.
Hell yeah, they can take on my
on
my identity. Hell yeah, boys.
So I thought to myself, this can't be bad. It can only be good by them stealing my identity.
For me.
And finally, my last one is this: women. This is a statement that I read from. It's considered to be a accurate prediction, but here we go, guys. Women will be having more sex with robots than men by 2027. It's going to be 2025. Let me read that one more time. Women will be having more sex with robots than men by 2027. Do what you want with that. Who the hell are we going to be having sex with? We get robots too, don't we?
Yeah, we better get robots too.
Shit.
Maybe that's the cure to what ails the entire human race is everyone gets their own sex bot.
You know what? Just might be. I wouldn't put it by. What's going on right now? Ron says food is Mike's motivator, and I couldn't agree with you more, Ron.
Hell yeah.
You hit that one right on the head. Derpy, anything before we start getting ready to wrap it up, brother?
I got nothing.
My man. Mike, what about you?
I got nothing.
Look at you two. But I do want to say also, guys, thank you for hanging out, checking us out today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We really, really, really do. We wouldn't do it without you. I want to thank everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. Guys, speak now or forever hold your peace. Last chance. All right.
Mikey's very bold.
All right. There you go. He always manages to get that one in there. But I do want to say again, thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. We will be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again for Hump Day. So for Derpy, for Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, myself here at the Two Dum Yinzers, we want to say have a great day and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.